Happy New Year, everyone. It's Uchi2. Just wanted to hop online and let you guys know I have resumed production on Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Clash of Ninja. Haven't done a whole lot right now. Don't mind the graphics right now. This is, again, these are all test stages. I don't want to talk too much about what the actual stages are going to look like, but something important that I did need to go ahead and get working was transparent objects. I've touched on this before in one of the test videos, and y'all probably already knew I had a lot of difficulties with the transparent objects back then, but now I've got them fully working, and they work perfectly. So anytime you get in front of an object, it will turn semi-transparent so that the players can still be seen. The issue before with this was, long story short, the previous version would invert the mesh somehow, so you'd be seeing the back face of like the beams, and it would look very, very weird and not correct. It was like, for anyone that game designs out there that's familiar with like draw distance, it didn't know what to do with that, so it created a big glitch. So I was finally able to find a shader that worked properly, so it would actually turn transparent without inverting the mesh. I went with kind of an Odyssey style. It's called dithering. If anybody's familiar with, again, game design, dithering is the method I had to take here versus actual transparency. So through dithering, I was able to do it correctly without inverting the mesh, and then I had to rewrite the code to get and all the detection for collision to make sure it would work. So there's some invisible collision going on. I can't show you in this version, but yeah, there's basically 3 checkpoints to make sure this works properly. The first checkpoint, and they all draw from kind of the center, so the first checkpoint is paired with Naruto. The second checkpoint is paired with Sasuke, and the third checkpoint is paired in the middle. So it's checking these 3 points right at the base of their feet to see, basically based on the screen, is this point, or this point colliding with the characters, or touching with characters colliding with an object, and if so, then turn it transparent. So you'll see it kind of how it works. That point is kind of right here. I made the colliders for the areas a little bit bigger, so they may turn invisible a little bit earlier, just to make sure you don't walk behind a wall. But the point is actually right here at the base of every player's feet, and then there's one in the center as well, so that way if you're standing like this and there's like a wall in the middle, it's not just gonna, sometimes they're pieced out, it's not just gonna have like this big solid wall in the middle. It'll go ahead and make that invisible too, so it detects the players, objects blocking the players, plus items that are in the direct middle between the 2 players. So that's how it works. That was not featured in the last version. I thought it would be cool if it didn't turn this invisible, but then I realized it would cause problems. It wouldn't cause problems on a stage like this, but it would cause problems on a stage where there's a wall. It would be weird to have this kind of big wall in the middle. So anyway, just wanted to let you guys know this is working. The only glitch with it right now, which I don't know if there's a fix, I tried finding a fix tonight and could not find one. So I don't know if it's just one of those things where it's going to be in the game and we'll have to deal with it or not. It'll be an issue when there's walls, but we'll see if I can find another way to fix it. But shadows, for some reason, are not drawn through their semi-transparent objects. So you'll see, like, they do have shadows, which I'll fix those later. They look gross right now. But you notice the shadows do not draw in the transparent areas. So, like right here, Naruto doesn't have any, it appears he doesn't have any shading underneath. Which, again, on stages with small objects like this, it's not that big of a deal because it's rarely ever, that you won't see the shadows completely. But if this whole area was like a solid wall, let's say it was a small stage with walls on each side, and those walls turn transparent, this would be an issue because the shadows would not be drawn at all, and it may be difficult to kind of tell depth with where your player is standing without shadows. So one of those things where the engine is like working, but it's just giving me issues because that's just how game design works. It's always got to be something broken about it. But otherwise, that's, again, just minor detail. Most Clash Ninja games didn't even actually use real-time shadows like this. They would just drop basically a circle texture below them. I mean, worse comes to worst, I'll just go back to that method, and that way they'll always have shadows. Those will always draw like normal because they're 3D objects, but I would prefer to keep the real-time shadows. They work in every other context except for through the semi-transparent objects. Maybe I'll find a different approach for the walls. Maybe I'll figure this out and figure out a way to get it to render the shadows through the semi-transparent objects. But oh, next is these. So objects like this that are actually part of the background actually don't turn transparent. They're designed to be culled completely out, so it'll disappear entirely. So the only ones that are visible on the stage should be like the immediate kind of foreground objects, like barriers. Those will always be rendered, and they'll just be transparent if they're, you know, blocking characters. But like all these trees back here, when those aren't on screen, I do need to program those to disappear, so they don't, you know, do this issue where, you know, they come onto the screen like this. These should not be showing right now. The only reason why I haven't added that is because, again, these are just test stages. This is not what the main gate stage is going to look like. I'll talk about that later on in development. Now that I got the transparent objects down, I'll be able to actually start working on the stages, and I'm really excited for stages. They're going to take a while, but y'all will see why. But I at least want to let you guys know that the transparent objects are working. So this was actually the #1 reason why I have not been adding new stages into the game. Like, I've added some. Either they would have no barriers like this that could block the screen, or the barriers would be really thin, like the forest hideout stage, where if they block, it's not too big of a deal. But this was the primary reason why I stopped using this stage to begin with, and why I started using, why I wasn't able to add other stages. It was because I couldn't do transparent objects, semi-transparent objects, and pretty much all Clash of Ninja stages have semi-transparent objects to mark the arena. So now that I have that figured out, you will see more stages imported in the game, and then hopefully I can actually start working on actual stages, like what they'll actually like in the final version. But maybe for testing I can at least import a few more now that these are working. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I try to keep these video logs short, but they always end up becoming longer as I talk about them. But look, hey, this is one step further. That was not here before. So, you know, small, but nonetheless progress, and I am excited to be working on the game again. This is the first kind of thing I've worked on in this new year. This has been a mystery for over a year now, so I'm very, very proud of myself that I was able to get this figured out. Yeah. So my transparent objects are here. You guys have a great night.